I got into the Lantern. I watched the first episode of Lanterns, right? And I was coming at it from a standpoint that, I haven't really ever really been into Lanterns very much at all. Like you know, to me, he's always kind of been a DC characters, like, based on the Justice League, right? He was just a shade above Aquaman for me personally. But and so I wasn't really high on the series coming into it. I wasn't really high on Aaron Pierre as the Lantern himself. Like, I wanted an American. Like, I fancy American guys. I'm just gonna be really honest about it. Especially since John Stewart himself was an American. Like, he is an American, right? But all or something after this thing gets done. So let's get something else we could watch. So I sat down and I watched it, and my initial thoughts were, it's a pretty good series. Like, that was my initial feeling about it. There were some things in there, and I thought it was well done. I'm just gonna, I'm not even planning this out. This was the opening scene, and this guy here, him and Hal, had a great kind of, Hal was kind of hardcore but funny at the same time. And obviously we got to the death of Hal Jordan, which I don't think anyone anticipated. I mean, they put a big gap in that time period from when he first meets him, until, he actually, until Hal actually dies. But because he kept talking about, he was going to be the Green Lantern until he died. They had been training, but, until he died. So obviously we knew this had to happen, right? We didn't anticipate it. Although his words literally were, this is my job until I die. So there's a couple of things though that were weird to me, and I'm gonna say, like, the opening scene or the scene with his pops. I'm gonna be really honest, was kind of disturbing, right? Like, the scene with his father was actually pretty disturbing. The idea that this really well-trained, really disciplined person is shooting a firearm. I didn't understand any of that. That was very disturbing. I don't think that looks like good parenting on any level, right? It looks like some trauma, and that's where I thought they were initially going with it. They did juxtapose it with this love that he had for his son, but like, it was still a very disturbing scene, right? So I'm gonna be really honest about that. Also, the scene in the car where he has sex with this absolute random, right? He goes to a bar, the bar scene, right? He goes to a bar and talks to a lady. I mean, like, it's not even like they were, we have some kind of a bond, we like each other, we don't even know each other. And just like how quickly this supposedly disciplined person got into it and went raw, right? That's not a disciplined person. You can't tell me he's this ultra disciplined person, but then you run around raw dogging randos that you literally just met. This is a random chick who's just like, you want to go get in the truck with me, and he's down with it, right? Which was kind of shocking. As a hero, right? Like, it had some great characters. I want to talk about this sheriff, this actress here, Kelly McDonald, who did a great job, right? She did a great job. And then, but it kind of leaves us now where we're trying to figure out, like, who's got the Lantern's ring now, right? So it's a good setup. Like, I didn't expect to, honestly didn't expect to see the literal death of Hal Jordan. I will say, though, already that this Hal Jordan was a much better Hal Jordan than Ryan Reynolds' Hal Jordan. Like, there's just no way around it. This Hal Jordan was more Green Lantern than I ever thought Lantern would be. This is my definitive Hal Jordan, right? He seemed a lot more engaging and not like, I'm starting to wonder if Ryan Reynolds is a guy I like, love him as Deadpool, right? But and some of his other stuff, but the Green Lantern that he did fails in comparison. I don't even know how it came off like that. Maybe having your wife girlfriend in the movie just wasn't, maybe you weren't taking this shit seriously enough. But this guy here, who I remember from Jurassic Park, right? Or not Jurassic Park, the new, what was it, man? The new Godzilla movies, right? Like the monster Godzilla movies, the new ones, right? With Monarch. He's a part of that. And so I kind of was familiar with him as an actor, and I felt like, all right, he's a pretty decent guy, and he did a great job. I actually feel like he did a really, really good job coming into the role. Now, did I learn anything more about the Green Lanterns? No. I still feel like, I mean, in this, you know, they do refer to them as like space cops, and that was the phrase that kind of stuck out to me a lot. Was, okay, now they're space cops, which is it's cool, but it's also kind of not comforting, because, you know, we vet cops, we go through, like, you know, so to give Hal Jordan this type of power, or even Jon Stewart this type of power, and they're kind of unvetted, man. Like, it's just like, and like the whole Lantern Corps, the whole Guardians, nobody elected them either, man. So it's kind of a weird thing. So I automatically go into it believing, like, yeah, they're kind of a fascist force. Like, this is kind of a fascist police force. Nobody selected them, right? They say they're all of a sudden running your sector. They make all the decisions, yet no one elected. There's not one elected official, not one even discussion, no committee, no review, none of that stuff. And let's also remember that the Guardians, and again, my knowledge of DC isn't that strong, but I do know about Atrocitus. I do know that this group has an atrocity on their books. They've got blood on their ledger. And I mean, probably billions. I don't know. They destroyed, I think it's an entire planet. They came to Sector 666. I'm assuming that's one planet, like Earth is Sector whatever the heck it is. And they go to 666, which is kind of lame writing, by the way. And, you know, their initial Guardians were these, you know, robotic Guardians that didn't have any emotions. And they end up killing the entire populace of Sector 666. So these guys have massive blood on their hands, and then you go back and still think that you're the police force. So that part, you know, is kind of looming in the back of my head. But then watching Hal Jordan, and it's like, okay, now we're at least identifying that there's some alien forces that are out there, right? They're coming. So the setup is really good. The setup is really, really good. Now, I'm assuming, I don't know if we're going to see other heroes in this. It seems like, you know, for this type of scenario, I don't know if there's an alien invasion. If you don't call other heroes, I don't know if that's wise. But, you know, it's funny to see the interaction between him and like local police. Like, you know, that was kind of the cool thing about it, is everybody knows who Hal Jordan is. He's a guy who goes out and gets tacos, right? He's a guy who's just like gets drunk and gets in bar fights. Like that was actually a very cool side of Hal Jordan I didn't expect to see. And that was like a treat for me. That was actually pretty cool. And like I said, he's a lot better than Ryan Reynolds. Not to harp on Ryan Reynolds, but man, he's increasingly making it seem like you just did an absolute terrible job. So the mythology that goes behind it. The first thing, man, I can't believe that I didn't even talk about this. You know, guys, I'm going to give you guys something better. There's some research I should have done on that symbol, because I want you guys to look at if you can see man, it's really not, I don't know, I guess I'm not limber enough, right? You can kind of see my tattoo here, right? It's the Shen, right? And I'm going to show you, like, the Shen is the lantern symbol is very, very similar to the Shen. And, you know, I'm going to put together a file on it. In fact, I should have been ready to do this right now. But I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts off on the initial episode, just kind of get it in. I thought it was good. I was shocked in some areas, but I was entertained throughout the whole thing. So it'll be an interesting story. I think I'm going to dig a little deeper into some of the mythologies that go behind it. And I'll come back and do a little longer piece on it. So I just kind of want to get in a little bit of time on it, talk about the lantern a little bit, and then kind of figure out where I want to go. So I think I'm going to come back a little bit today and talk about the Shen and some other topics. So check back in. This was just kind of letting you guys know what's going to be on deck later on today. And I look forward to connecting with you all.